Hello, good day to y'all. How's it going? I'm Sean David. Welcome back to the show. In today's episode, we got a true NBA legend, Muggsy Bogues. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, Muggsy, unfortunately, your playing days are over, but you are one of the most popular players, especially when it comes to the 1990s. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your career before we talk about what you're doing today. So my first question actually goes back to, basically before your NBA career. Who were the players that you were looking up to when you were a kid?
Well, for me, it was a little different, because I didn't have anybody in the NBA or in college that kind of simulated myself. So I really didn't watch much, professional basketball growing up, but it was a gentleman in my neighborhood by the name of Dwayne Wood, who happened to be small, short stature, and he was so successful playing against his opponent. And I kind of always kind of looked at him and kind of followed him a little bit. But as I got older, of course, Magic Johnson being the point guard and playing that position, it was someone I know I couldn't kind of emulate or simulate my game based on what he was doing. But the responsibilities that comes along with a point guard and the things that he was doing, I kind of gravitated towards and kind of looked at, this is something that I need to try to incorporate in my game. Being small, making guys around me better, being fast and quick, it could possibly, lead me to a good place.
All right. Now, you were drafted in 1987, and you were the 12th pick by then Washington Bullets. Oh, a long time ago, man. Take me through the day of the draft. What was it like knowing that you finally realized your dream?
It was exciting times, kid from, always come so far from Lafayette Projects, and here he is here in Madison Square Garden about to, hear his name possibly called in the NBA draft, let alone, just having that opportunity. I mean, it was just an unbelievable experience. That day, of course, the weight of the world was lifted off of my shoulders, once I heard my name called. History was made. Got an opportunity to go up there and shake, Commissioner Stern's hand, just like all the others. So that was a historic moment for myself.
When you were drafted back in the days, there were some. I consider the 80s to the second best decade when it comes to NBA talent. And you had guys like Magic Johnson, who you already mentioned, Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton was about to become an NBA star. So we're talking about some really great point guards. Who was the guy for you personally that you really were looking forward to play against?
Well, believe it or not, everybody, each and every one of them, because at the time, you just mentioned some of the names, the Magic Johnson, the Isaiah Thomas, Mark Price. You go down the line, you talk about the Mark Jackson, the Kenny Smiths, so many, the Doc Rivers, that era back then. So each night you had to face a tough guard. And that was a joy for me because, trying to build a reputation for yourself, you always felt like if you're playing against the best, if you have success against the best, you need to be included with the best. And that was a motto that I always took on the court.
You played in the Eastern Conference, and back in the days, the Eastern Conference was loaded with great teams. I mean, we're talking about the Boston Celtics, we're talking about the Bad Boy Pistons, we're talking about the Chicago Bulls, the Atlanta Hawks, the Milwaukee Bucks, so many, many great teams. But the one team that always stood out to me the most were the Boston Celtics, at least in the 80s. What do you recall from playing against Larry Bird and the Celtics, and a team that had so many great players?
You're right. They did have a lot of talent back then. And, that at that time, Lakers and Boston was that team. Lakers on the West Coast, Boston on the East Coast. And you're playing against the DJ Johnson, may he rest in peace, the Jerry Stings and the Danny Ainge, the John Bagley, those guys. So that was a team that you had to go up against. And then because Michael was Chicago Bulls, they were just getting started. The Bad Boy was just in that era as well, about to, ramp up right around in the 90s. So you had a lot of players, a lot of teams. You go back, as you mentioned, Milwaukee, Cindy Marbury.
Yes, so underrated.
Yeah, so it was so many teams back then that was loaded that you had to go up against it. But, those Celtics were the team to chase back then.
After your rookie season, where you had a solid rookie season with the Bullets, you went to the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm really curious about what was it like playing for a new franchise. I don't know, but to me, I believe it must be like super chaotic.
Well, at the time, being so highly drafted, in the first round, and after you come off, you felt, well, it was an up and down rookie season for myself. We had a coaching change after we got rid of Kevin Lockley. They brought in Wes Unseld, may rest in peace. And so it was going through a turmoil back then. They had the tall and the short. Man, Manute was on the same team.
Yeah.
Moses Malone. So, and I felt, unappreciated from the organization, But after the season, I thought they was going to, kind of rally behind me and kind of fit players around what I like to do, because we had a lot of older players, kind of fading out from their career. The Bernard King and the Moses Malone, those guys was pretty much at the tail end of their career. But, but going to Charlotte, it was a match made in heaven, because everybody thought my career was over after the Washington situation. Got an opportunity to go to Charlotte, an expansion team, not knowing what to expect, but you're thrown in the pot with some mixture. You got a lot of veterans. I had Kelly Tripucka,
yeah,
Rambers and Earl Curtin. Then I had the young guys and Rex Chapman and Del Curry. So it was just a combination of mixing. We had a coach by the name of Dick Harder, who kind of was, a staple in the league, and just try to, I recall Dick telling us after one game, we're a bunch of guys nobody wanted, because we was unprotected. The Lakers was kicking our butts at the time. So his halftime speech was, he went around the room. He basically just lit up everybody. Del Curry, your man, in order for you to help us, you got to get 30, because your man going to get 40. Muggsy Bogues, assist don't mean crap in this league, son. He went around the whole room, but he was a funny guy. But it was a great time for me, because that was the beginning, really, of my career. That's when the nation really got the opportunity to see the showcase. I was able to showcase my talent because I was surrounded with some good players.
Yeah, and it got better once Larry Johnson joined the team, Alonzo Mourning joined the team, and yeah, you guys really put Charlotte on the map. You turned from a new franchise to must-see TV. I remember, like, I'm living in Germany, so really far away, and we only had once a week an NBA show. So we mainly had the Chicago Bulls and the Seattle Supersonics because of Detlef Schrempf. But you guys were next to, right after the Sonics, because you guys were so entertaining, and you could really see that you guys were having so much fun on the court. And I wanted to know, let's say you guys would have stayed together. You, LJ, be healthy, Alonzo be healthy, Kendall Gill stays. Do you feel you guys had a chance to win a championship?
I really believe we would have had a shot. I really do, because that core right there, it was young, but it was starting to come and formulate together. But, some uncertainties happened. Of course, Kendall decided he wanted to leave. LJ got hurt. I got hurt. Then Zoe, he decided he wanted to leave. But at the beginning, we was exciting. We was having fun. We was really hungry. We want to put ourselves on that stage like, everybody else. I think Miami and ourselves came in together. We was kind of fighting with that. And then down the road, you had Shaquille O'Neal at Orlando.
Yeah.
That was a little, something in the back of Zoe's mind by them two coming in together. But it was exciting, man. We really had a lot of fun trying to, make Charlotte excited and make some things happen for the franchise. But unfortunately, things happened. We got cut short. The furthest we was able to go was the second round.
No, I'm pretty sure that you get asked that quite often. I have to ask you something about Space Jam, okay? It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I can't help it. I'm curious about, how did you get on the movie? Who called you? How did that whole thing work out? Please let me know.
Well, believe it or not, myself, Michael Jordan, and Patrick, we all had the same agent. Then, of course, Larry and Charles Barkley and Sean Bradley. But I think it was just the combination, the way it was all written, and they felt like this part it was for me. And because at the time, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it because I just had surgery coming off of the Chicago series, and I had knee surgery, and I couldn't walk. And I was on crutches, but they told me come on out anyway and read your lines, and they created an opportunity. They had this dolly where they were able to pull me on a dolly, so I wasn't really walking. I was just moving my shoulders like I was walking. And they said, "Hey, we got to have this kid in there. He did great." And but I'm grateful they did because, man, we had a blast on the set, and here it is. Didn't even believe or know that it would turn out to be such an iconic movie.
Yeah, it's a classic now, man. Did you also participate in the Michael Jordan after workouts, like once the shoot shut down, this huge tent or whatever that was? Did you also participate in that?
Well, I didn't play. I had surgery. I couldn't play.
You couldn't play. Okay.
I went and watched, and it was some exciting and intense games going on over there. The boys had fun. They created this nice tent for Michael, air conditioned, where he had his weights, and as well a little driving range where he can hit his golf ball. So it was exciting.
Yeah, but nobody realized that they're helping MJ to get back in shape.
That's exactly what was happening.
Yeah, of course.
Because every year he came back after the retirement, and he wanted to kind of, he got a little frustrated that he lost to Orlando, so that thing kind of happened. But I mean, again, man, that was unbelievable times back then.
I'm pretty sure you heard about that story, but I have to mention it. The NBA show Open Court, I think it was like 5 years ago, Steve Smith said that he changed from the point guard position to the shooting guard position because of you. You're laughing. You know that story, right?
Yeah. I know that story. Yeah.
That has to be the biggest compliment on earth. If a skilled player openly admits that they changed their position because they were afraid to play against you.
Well, that's my guy, Steve Smitty, and he's such a heck of a ball player as well as an individual human being. I mean, Smitty came in as a taller point guard, and for me being that small, trying to, and the way I play defense, he just said that complimentary, but he always still played that 1-2 position, because he had that versatility. But I made guys work, man. I had to make them think about me, out there on that floor, make sure, like when coaches said, you don't see him, pick it up.
I had many guys on the show already, and your name came up quite a few times. And what all of them said were that you were super strong. I talked to Zoe, and we talked about you, and he said, yeah, Muggsy was super strong. And
Yeah.
and if you weren't that tough, there was no way you could make it in the NBA. You had to be super strong.
Well, you had to be tough, mindset. Your mind had to be tough. You had to be tough physically as well, because that's the way the league was. It was a physical league back then when I came in. And, I was a stocky little guy. Even though I was small, I was stocky. I was built, and my legs was huge. And, for me, it was personal, especially if guys felt like they want to try to take me down low. They felt like they had a disadvantage to post me up. And Zoe always know, I get mad when they want to come and try to help. And, I'll get mad because, I feel like I can handle my guy. And of course, 9 times out of 10, he ain't used to playing with his back toward the basket anyway. I understood all of that.
Now, since we're talking about guys that felt that you were super tough, who was your toughest matchup? In all honesty, and don't tell me so many. Who was the one guy that was your toughest matchup on the point guard position?
Well, but you got to understand, for me, it was everybody's tall. So it wasn't like, you had to, decide who. Everybody had different skill sets. And, but, I would say, because of the way I like to play, because I like to help off of guys, and Mark Price was one of those deadly type of shooters.
Nice.
And he was the Steph Curry before Steph Curry, shooting the ball from half court, that type of skill set. And Mark, and he always made me pay anytime I left him or try to help out. The ball winds up back out there in his hands, and boy, he gonna drain it. And that's something that always kind of got under my skin, and it felt like man, I got to stay glued to this guy, because if not, giving him space gives him confidence, especially when you see the ball goes through the basket.
That's nice to hear. I had Mark on the show 2 weeks ago. Very nice guy. And he's also one of the most underrated players in NBA history. So underrated. Everybody talks about Steph Curry. Mark Price was doing that in the 90s. The same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we have those type of players that people kind of tend to forget about because of today's society and what they're seeing. But, you know, we have some players, man, that Kevin Johnson. You go.
Oh, yes.
You know, so you can get, you know, keep going over back. Talk about old Jay Humphries. You know, I can go all down the line about the guys back in our era who played that position. Vern Fleming, you know, Pat Lever, you know, and even go for Michael Adams, you know. So I would keep going all day long, man.
You're remembering the good guys, Michael Adams, Fat Lever. Oh, I love them. Now, one more question before we get to what you're doing today. Now, I wasn't expecting that you'd say Mark Price, but I'm happy you did. But how would you approach guarding somebody like Penny Hardaway, prime Penny Hardaway, super tall, skilled with the ball? How would you guard somebody like him?
Well, Penny he was one of them tough guards as well. You know what? Again, everybody was similar to me the way I played. They always tried to post me up, but it was very hard to do so. So, you know, they wind up doing other things, you know, especially when they're trying to bring the ball up. They may have the off guard try to bring it up and then sending them down to the post. So, but Penny was one of those guys. Him and Magic were similar because, you know, they was capable of passing the ball as well as Mark Jackson.
Oh, yes.
Another one. Mark was another one who played down there with his back toward the basket. You know, that's what the GP, same thing.
Yes.
You know, all those guys are similar. Oh, but all of them, for me, they similar to me. So, you know, because I had to play them guys all the same way and certain different.
Now, obviously, since you retired, you kept yourself busy, and you had many projects over the last years. But we talked a little bit before the interview. There's one project that is your, let's say, your, I don't want to say most important project, but the one where your heart really is into. Can you tell me something about it, please?
Well, it's not mainly a project. It's my foundation. It's the Bogues Family Foundation, where we're trying to, you know, continue to support and empower the community. I have some programs where we offer scholarship to vocational students because a lot of kids still have that aspiration of working with their hands and, you know, become engineers and that sort of speak. So we want to, you know, give them a resource that knowing that they got somebody out here that's helping. And then also we're tapping into the homeless, feeding the homeless, you know, with everything that's going on with the pandemic and, you know, people are really struggling out here financially. You know, we just want to do our part. So we're partnering with some of the folks here in Charlotte, you know, Charlotte Rescue Mission, as well as Charlotte Harvest Center and Goodwill, because those people kind of align with the things that we're doing. And that's who I'm reaching out to, the people that kind of doing what I'm doing. And so we can kind of, you know, make this a better world for the people that need those type of resources. So thank you for letting me share that information. And anybody want to find out what we are actually doing, they can always go to the MuggsyBoguesFamily.org and find out what we're all about.
I will post a link underneath the video, so if you want to support it, it's a great cause. Check out the link in this description box. Muggsy, it was great having you on the show.